Power is not seized by strength alone. It is engineered through scarcity. What men cannot touch, they worship. What slips away, they chase. What is limited, they kill to possess. Today, I give you the 7 iron laws of engineered scarcity, the weapons of those who bend desire itself. Ask yourself, do people ever respect what you hand out like scraps? Or do they worship what they can't quite reach? The truth is cruel. Human beings do not crave abundance. They despise it. They crave restriction. They don't desire what lies in their hands, but what taunts them just beyond their grasp. Restriction is the alchemy that transforms the ordinary into the priceless. The employee who always says yes, invisible, treated like furniture. The one who withholds his time, hunted, feared, obeyed. The man who floods the world with attention, discarded. The one who starves the world of it, desired like prey. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. He knew rulers who gave freely earned only contempt, but rulers who denied, who withheld, who made their favor rare. They became objects of desperate loyalty. So what would Machiavelli do? He would ration favors like drops of water in a desert. He would provoke hunger, not satisfy it. He would force men to crawl, beg, and bleed for his approval. He would weaponize scarcity until men needed him more with every denial. Look at luxury brands. Waiting lists turn purchases into conquests. Nightclubs with empty floors keep lines around the block. Absence makes presence electric. The less available you are, the more they chase. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been cheap? Where have you bled out your power by being too available? That is where your strength has died. Here is the truth. The world never chases what it already holds. It chases what is withheld, and so begins the conquest. Weak men bleed themselves dry. They scatter their time, their energy, their attention like beggars flinging copper coins into the street. And then, like fools, they wonder why no one respects them, why no one values what they give. It is pathetic. What is cheap is ignored. What is common is despised. Only what is withheld becomes worshipped. Look around. The man who is always available becomes invisible. The woman who answers every call, who attends every meeting, who bends at every request, she becomes nothing more than furniture. Always present, never valued. People do not chase abundance. They trample it. Machiavelli would never bleed himself out like a fool. He would never give freely. He would ration himself with cold precision. His time would be rare, his presence scarce, his approval dispensed like water to the dying. Every drop of his attention would make men crawl, beg, claw for more. He understood the brutal truth. What is easy to obtain is never respected. What is difficult to obtain becomes sacred. You see this everywhere. The luxury brand that burns unsold bags rather than flood the market. The leader who appears rarely, but whose silence is dissected more than the speeches of common men. Even in love, the one who withholds affection, who forces pursuit, commands far more loyalty than the one who gives it away without a fight. Scarcity transforms the ordinary into the priceless. So master this law. Ration desire. Restrict your access. Make yourself rare. Deny them the banquet. Offer them only crumbs. Then watch as the crumbs become feasts in their starving eyes. Because when you withhold, you do not weaken yourself. You multiply your value 100-fold. Understand this. Restriction breeds obsession. Denial breeds loyalty. Hunger breeds worship. Men obsessed will tear each other apart for a piece of you. Men loyal will betray their own interests just to remain close. And here lies the final power. By mastering restraint within yourself, you build domination over others. Your discipline becomes their addiction. Your scarcity becomes their prison. You are no longer just a man in their eyes. You are the prize, the rare jewel, the trophy they bleed for. Control yourself, and you control them. Ration desire, and you rule the weak. Here is your first law of scarcity. Ration desire, rule the weak.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Cowards delay, they whisper tomorrow, they murmur later, but later never comes. Tomorrow rots into next week rots into never, and in that graveyard of hesitation lie the corpses of ambition. Weak men tell themselves they are waiting for the right moment. Pathetic. The right moment never arrives. Hesitation is the disease of the powerless. It is paralysis disguised as caution, and the man who waits becomes prey to the one who strikes. Time is not neutral. Time is a killer. The clock is the executioner. The clock is the sword. Those who wait are devoured by indecision. Those who command the clock crush all resistance. Machiavelli praised the Romans for this very reason. They never delayed war. They never allowed their enemies to breathe. They struck preemptively, ruthlessly, before hesitation could breed weakness. Delay weakens the strong. Speed conquers the weak. Look at your own world. Why do countdowns drain wallets? Why do flash sales end at midnight? Why do auctions explode in the final seconds? Because urgency murders doubt. With the clock ticking, hesitation becomes unbearable. Panic replaces reason. People act, not because they want to, but because they fear missing their only chance. So what must you do? Attach a clock to everything. Tie time to every deal, every opportunity, every reward. Make hesitation unbearable. And when the clock strikes zero, end it without mercy. No extensions, no second chances, no sympathy. The weak beg for more time. The strong weaponize time and make the weak crawl under its weight. Understand this. Controlling time is controlling life itself. The man who owns the clock owns the battlefield. He dictates the rhythm of action. He forces decisions. He leaves no room for hesitation, no space for rebellion. Master time within yourself, and you master hesitation. Master hesitation, and you master others. Internal victory over procrastination becomes external domination over rivals, markets, and empires. Control the clock, and you control the world. Here is your second law of scarcity. Crush hesitation with the clock. Abundance is the creed of fools. Only idiots flood the market, handing everything away in the hope of being loved. And what happens? Men grow bored, entitled, ungrateful. They sneer at the giver, then trample what was freely offered. Pathetic men give everything away and wonder why they are invisible. They think generosity will make them remembered. Instead, it makes them forgettable. Kings know better. Kings ration crumbs and watch men fight, claw, and kill just to taste them. Scarcity is the true alchemy. Scarcity turns junk into treasure, scraps into trophies, possession into blood sport. It transforms the ordinary into the priceless. What is plentiful is spat on. What is rare is worshipped. Machiavelli understood this with ruthless clarity. The starving man clings tighter than the one who is full. Hunger is loyalty. Satisfaction is betrayal. The satisfied wander. The hungry obey. Look at the world around you. Why do luxury brands destroy unsold goods rather than discount them? Because excess kills prestige. Why do limited editions ignite riots in the streets? Because men would rather bleed than miss out on what few can hold. Why do lovers lose interest in the one who is always available, yet burn with desire for the one who withdraws? Because what is scarce infects the mind like fever. So what must you do? Shrink supply. Publicize the limits. Force them to fight for scraps And as they fight, their attachment deepens. Their struggle turns you into their obsession. They worship what was hardest to claim. And here lies the Machiavellian edge. While others starve in weakness, you starve them by choice. You deny the market until the market is on its knees. You do not just own the feast, you become the famine itself. When you are the famine, you are the arbiter of life and death. You decide who feasts and who starves. You dictate the hunger that drives loyalty, obedience, and fear. Internal mastery of hunger makes you untouchable. External weaponization of hunger makes you unstoppable. By controlling the flow, you do not just influence men, you enslave them to their own cravings. Here is your third law of scarcity. Starve the market, feed the frenzy. Fools cannot keep their mouths shut. They vomit out their plans, their schedules, their intentions, bleeding information as if their very survival depended on being understood. And in doing so, they neuter themselves. Predictability is weakness. Transparency is surrender. The fool who reveals everything has already lost. Predictability kills desire. It smothers curiosity. It strips away fear. But uncertainty is intoxicating. It gnaws at the mind. It multiplies fear tenfold. It keeps men awake at night, building monsters in their imagination far larger than anything reality could deliver. Machiavelli cloaked himself in fog. He revealed nothing. He moved in silence and shadows. His allies stumbled. His enemies panicked. While they guessed, while they feared, while they choked on uncertainty, he advanced unseen. To them, uncertainty was chaos. To him, it was armor. Look at the world today. Why do lotteries drive nations into madness? Why do rumors of secret drops spark riots? Why does the whisper of a maybe feel more powerful than the certainty of a yes? Because the unknown is more terrifying, more intoxicating than the known. Men cannot resist what they cannot predict. So learn this. Mystery is magnetism. You must become the fog. Announce without announcing, reveal without clarity, answer with riddles, promise without details. Keep both enemies and allies guessing until their imagination devours them alive. Here lies the power. When you master silence within yourself, you enslave others through paranoia. They stumble in the darkness you create, while you move freely through the shadows. They will fear your silence more than your words. They will obey your mystery more than your commands. Your fog blinds them. Your silence enslaves them. Your uncertainty makes you untouchable. Here is your fourth law of scarcity. Cloak yourself in uncertainty. The herd dreams of equality. Equality is their religion, their fantasy, their pathetic cry. They cling to sameness because sameness comforts them. Weaklings beg to belong anywhere, to be accepted by anyone, to be part of the faceless many. And what does that earn them? Nothing. Sheep are not remembered, they are slaughtered. The powerful dream of separation. They build walls, not bridges. They do not blend into the crowd. They rise above it. They carve out thrones, not benches. They create circles within circles, and then force men to bleed, sacrifice, and prove themselves worthy to crawl into each higher tier. Exclusivity is not luxury, it is hierarchy. It is elevation, it is power distilled into belonging. Machiavelli would never lower himself to the mob. He would build ladders of privilege, each rung more punishing than the last. The climb itself would be the test, the sacrifice, the proof of loyalty. And the higher the climb, the deeper the worship. The few who reached the summit would not just respect him, they would idolize him. Look at the world today. Why do men covet black cards? Because they are denied to the masses. Why do they fight for invitation-only clubs? Because rejection is the wall that creates envy. Denial creates royalty. Why do secret societies hold sway over nations? Because secrecy itself creates hierarchy. The fewer admitted, the greater the reverence. So build thrones, not crowds. Create circles only the loyal, the wealthy, the proven may enter. Deny entry to the rest. Make belonging itself the prize. Greater than any treasure within, let the masses fight, crawl, and betray each other for the privilege of merely standing at your side. Here lies the truth. Internal mastery of discipline separates you from the herd. External enforcement of exclusivity ensures the herd destroys itself in pursuit of your approval. You no longer stand among men. You tower above them. Build thrones, not crowds. Sit upon them and let the desperate multitudes slaughter each other for the chance to kneel at your feet. Here is your fifth law of scarcity. Build thrones, not crowds. Gifts are forgotten. Withdrawals are remembered forever. The fool thinks generosity buys loyalty. It doesn't. It buys contempt. Give too much and men grow spoiled. They see kindness as weakness. They take your gifts and spit on your hand. Only loss cuts deep enough to command obedience. Only the threat of removal burns into the mind. Weaklings give endlessly and wonder why they are ignored. Kings give sparingly and then snatch it back to watch men break. Machiavelli understood this law with surgical precision. He knew the fear of losing favor is always stronger than the gratitude of receiving it. Gratitude fades. Fear festers. Gratitude weakens over time. Fear grows sharper with every denial. Give, then rip it away. Let them taste privilege, then threaten to strip it back. Fear of loss is the leash that keeps men crawling at your feet. Look at the world around you. Why do online carts expire in 10 minutes? Why do companies suddenly revoke offers? Why do rulers grant favor only to retract it? Because panic replaces hesitation the moment something begins to slip away. The object hasn't changed, but the possibility of losing it transforms it into necessity. Think of your own life. What you gained, you barely recall, but what you almost lost, that haunts you. That loss lingers, replaying in your mind like a curse. That is no accident. That is the leash tightening around your throat. So master this law. Grant, revoke, retract, offer, and then withdraw. Give only to take back. Let them crawl, beg, grovel, to keep what they once thought was theirs. Let the panic of losing you become the prison they live in. Here lies the power. When you master withdrawal, you don't just control possessions, you control people. Their fear of losing you makes them cling harder, obey faster, submit deeper. Gratitude may weaken, fear never does. Master the leash, and you master men. Weaponize loss, and they will chain themselves to you. Here is your sixth law of scarcity. Weaponize loss like a leash. The weak can't shut up. They babble, they explain, they overshare. They vomit their secrets, their fears, their plans, as if the world deserves to know them. And in their endless noise, they slaughter their own mystique. They strip themselves naked and wonder why no one respects them. Words are their noose, their tongue, their executioner. But silence. Silence multiplies power. Silence breeds hysteria. Silence turns whispers into storms, rumors into wildfire, and uncertainty into madness. What you do not say is often more terrifying than what you reveal. Machiavelli wielded silence like a blade. He revealed nothing. He cloaked himself in stillness while others stumbled in panic. His silence forced allies to speculate, enemies to fear, and rivals to trip over their own paranoia. And paranoia always grows larger than truth. Look at the world today. Why do crowds riot over a whisper of shortage? Because silence leaves them guessing. Why do lines form outside shops with no stock count revealed? Because silence makes the imagination spin until hysteria is born. A single unsaid word can incite more fear than 1,000 declarations. Learn this. Every word you reveal weakens you. Every silence you hold strengthens you. Hide your intentions, starve them of clarity. Let them imagine, let them fear, let their minds invent demons larger than any reality. Silence is the fog that blinds them. Silence is the cloak that hides your fire until the exact moment you strike. And here lies the weapon. Internal mastery of silence transforms into external domination through paranoia, hysteria, and blind loyalty. They will fear the silence more than your speech. They will obey your mystery more than your command. The less you reveal, the more they worship. Rule through silence, and you rule their minds. Rule their minds, and the world bends to you. Here is your 7th law of scarcity. Rule through silence. Restriction, urgency, starvation, mystery, hierarchy, loss. Silence. These are not tricks, they are not tactics, they are laws, ancient, unbreakable, written not in ink, but in blood, hunger, and desire. Machiavelli knew the truth. Men are not moved by reason. They are not ruled by fairness. They are ruled by scarcity. They kill to possess what is withheld. They betray their own blood for what is denied. They will kneel, beg, and crawl for the rare, the elusive, the forbidden. Understand this. He who engineers scarcity does not sell. He commands. He does not persuade. He enslaves. Scarcity is not a technique. Scarcity is a throne. And the one who sits upon it bends human nature itself. Remember this above all. Desire is not conquered by abundance. Desire is not conquered by force. Desire is conquered by absence. And he who masters absence rules everything.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.